The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. We start with a scam alert. A Houston area woman says she was a target of a scam artist. That's after she says a person posing as a property owner tried to pressure her into leasing a home. He wanted a deposit right now. She is not the only victim in a housing market where there are bidding wars right now to rent homes because inventory has been low during the pandemic. We bring together the victim and experts so you'll know what to do whether you're a renter or a landlord.
And our guests are here on The Factor Uncensored to talk about some of those real estate scams that are out there because the real estate market, specifically rentals, are hot right now in this country and here in the city of Houston. Kimberly Patterson-Wright, you found yourself victimized as well. Tell us a little bit about what happened to you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm looking for a home to lease. I found a home that I thought was very attractive to me. I found it online on Zillow, which is, usually is very reputable. I went to visit the home after communicating with someone online who represented themselves as the owner. The house had an electronic keypad on the door, and the owner made sure that I was present. He asked me to give him a call when I was there and indicated that he would not be meeting me at the property. So he opened the door electronically. I inspected the house. It was great. But as soon as I finished and locked the door back, he immediately started pressuring me to send a deposit, just indicating that there was a lot of competition. In fact, 3 other families arrived while I was still on site, all having received the same information. And that was prior to me having completed an application.
So did you pay him, Kimberly? How much did you pay him?
No, I did not. But
how much did he want?
He wanted $900 plus a $60 application fee.
Mish, hearing that, is that unusual for a scam, or is that something that you typically encounter as an expert in the real estate market?
Well, Kimberly, first of all, I'm really sorry to hear that in whatever fashion someone took advantage of you. There were a lot of steps that were skipped, but let me say this. It's not unusual to have someone say, I want a deposit and I need something equivalent to a month's worth of rent and an application fee. It's the pressure that was applied that's unusual. Anyone who's doing business is going to want to vet Kimberly first. Get me this application. Let me check your eviction history. Let me see your credit history. Let me see if you're, employed right now. Get me some pay stubs.
Let's ask Kimberly, did he ask you any of that?
No, he did not.
There you go.
And so when did you realize, Kimberly, before we go back to Mish, that it was a scam?
Just the immediate pressure. He sent me at least 3 very quick messages. And then when I attempted to ask additional questions about the home or about the process, he was very vague in his responses.
And Mish, you pick back up there.
Well, and Kimberly, I am not faulting you at all because this is what people like I do. This is what realtors do. So we're trained to know what the steps are, to know what the processes are. But there are certain steps that needed to happen before you even got that far. And one of the really big clues here is you being sent to a home alone. What person would take a risk of having a stranger in a home where a trip and fall could happen? That's a claim on insurance. We're talking injury in a home. I could be a scammer. Oh, I'm going straight in there so I can trip, fall, and file a claim of my own. Or just like our friend, suddenly I've got a squatter in my house who entered and never left. You know what I'm saying? Like all kinds of scenarios could happen. No owner in their right mind is going to do this. So there were lots of things that were just wrong from the beginning.
And Dan, before we get to the rest of this story, what should someone do if they feel like they're being scammed by a landlord or a property owner? Where should they go for help, for assistance?
First themselves, gather information, records, documents, email, everything. Get paperwork, get something supporting your case. And in one like this, I would report it to law enforcement. This is a fraud. This is not a bad business. This is not I made a mistake. This is fraudulent. Okay, and it needs to be turned in. And what Kimberly needs to do is get an offense report. Now, the odds are they're going to necessarily catch them? No, slim to none. But it's on record. So if going down the road, back to what Mish was talking about earlier, let's say somehow it gets on your credit report or it gets thrown in somewhere. So a year down the road, you can say, here's my Harris County Sheriff's offense report when they pulled this on me. I have proof I didn't do it. I'm good to go. So documentation, Isaiah, critical.
Kimberly, do you think part of the problem was you were anxious, you liked the property, you were anxious and you just didn't think it out fully? Like, where's my credit report that he wants? Where's my job history he wants? Where's, all of the information that's typically asked of someone who's renting a property?
All of those things are what prevented me from acting on impulse and sending a deposit right away. And so I was lucky. There were several other people approaching the property in the same situation as myself and looking to view. I did take the initiative and have some discussion with them as well and let them know my concerns. I think one family was accepting and had the same feelings that I did. The other family may have stayed and, looked into it a bit further. I will also say I did phone my real estate agent and get some advice as well. And all of those things work together to prevent me from losing a deposit, at this critical time.
And that's an important part she brings up, Mish. Should you now, with the real estate market, specifically rentals, being so hot right now, and in some instances, there are bidding wars out there to get properties to rent, should you use a real estate agent?
Absolutely use a real estate agent. And it's really, really easy to do that. So I'm going to do a realtor quickie plug. The way to do that is just simply to go to www.har.com. There's a tab called Agents. Touch that tab, it drops down, and you can select an agent a multitude of different ways. You can do this by language. You can even do this by culture. You can select an agent based on the culture of the agent. You can even go for a platinum agent if you'd like a platinum agent. But there is a plethora of people out there who are available to help you, who can guide you and remind you, despite the fact that you're in a rush, there is a process that is in place to protect you. So grab a realtor, get some help, and let's do this the right way and keep your money in your pocket until it's time to really pay.
So this is probably the question you have. How did she find out the person wasn't the actual owner, that it was a scam? Patterson Wright says her real estate agent did the research, did some digging, and eventually they alerted the actual listing agent. There's more to this conversation when we come back, including protecting yourself in the housing market and the rental market. Stay with us. And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. A Houston area woman says she was targeted by a scam artist and almost lost $1,000 while trying to rent a house. She and her realtor found out the house wasn't in the name of the man who was contacting her. Now, we pick up this conversation with our panel and how you can protect yourself out there.
Dan Parsons with the Better Business Bureau. Any other scams out there that you have been monitoring, that you all have received complaints about, that people should be aware of? I know this is the time of year many people will be traveling for the holidays. They'll be renting properties short term for vacations. What's out there that we need to be aware of, the viewers need to be aware of?
Isaiah, I'm going to throw two things that are tied to this, and then I've got a question that maybe someone can answer, because I don't have an answer to this one myself. The two things in this story that are real critical and could tie to any scams going forward, and we've talked about this on the Factor before. Sense of urgency. What do we have in this? A sense of urgency, pressure, do, go. And the number two, things currently within the marketplace, things that are happening right now, that like an active, super hot real estate market. Any of those things tied together, you see activity. The question I have, I guess, back for the group, and I know you're the interviewer, but help me out with this. How are people opening these locks? That one I don't understand. I mean, when they're being hacked, I guess it had to be hacked before you got there, or somebody's got access to it. I mean, this is getting to be a bigger, a bigger thing. But if you got this guy's cell phone number, Kimberly, you got evidence to go to the cops.
Is
Really
it possible, Mish, that this guy may be a squatter himself, or an individual who gained access to this house and put a controlled entry on it for the purpose of misleading people?
A decoy, yeah.
Let me just say this. If someone can use my credit card while it is still in my purse and purchase groceries halfway across the country, then someone can hack into a digital lock on a house.
Yeah.
Anything is doable.
Yeah.
How it's done, I don't know. I'm not a crook, but it is absolutely doable. So, because these locks are digital. So I would tell anyone who is a homeowner who has a home up for rent, you are responsible for constantly checking your home and making sure someone has not hacked into it, broken into it, etc. But it's possible.
You know, Isaiah, one thing in the real estate, we always tell people, this is a simple little check as well. HCAD, the appraisal district, has property records. And gee, wouldn't it be interesting if on this property we looked it up and it's owned by XYZ? That's not who you're talking to? Why? And I think Mish mentioned it earlier in her comments. People have pride in their property. They don't send her loosely in there, you know? And for anybody who's brave enough to show up, do it in person, there's a little trick you can try. Can you real quickly show me the third bedroom? If it's their house, they ought to know it pretty quick. If they stumble around like, blah, 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 really? So that's stuff we have seen. And back to her comment on realtors. You know, remember travel agents?
Yeah.
They're not in vogue anymore. Well, guess what? They are. There's a need for them. And I will tell you, I can count on one hand people who've gone through the HAR process who've had any issues because they're being handled by pros. It's the ones that run off in their own little world. I don't need to do it. I don't have enough hands for them. They get into trouble.
Now, Mish also recommends to use technology to your benefit and do your homework to vet the person leasing to you. Investigate the person leasing to you as well.